The Franklin Regional Head Coach Greg Botta Show. Presented by the Ground Round at the Westmoreland Mall in Greensburg. The Ground Round. We've got what you like.
This evening we are visiting, as we always do, on our Franklin Regional Panthers pregame show with the all-time winningest coach of the Franklin Regional Panthers football team, Greg Botta, whose record with the win last week at Greensburg Salem, 124 up and 82 down. And here, Coach, we get set. It's a non-conference game as the Belle Vernon area Leopards will be coming here to Panther Stadium, and that's not always easy, despite the fact that Belle Vernon has lost 3 games in a row. And last week they took it on the chin pretty heavily, but you can't be thinking about their 3 losses. And before we get into Belle Vernon, let's talk a little bit about the big victory. Exciting football game at Offutt Field. 42-20 Panthers win. A 21-20 score going into the fourth quarter. Where was your thought process at that juncture of the football game?
Well, you know, Dave Kiefer, I've got to know him over the last year or so, and he's a great man, and he's trying to revive the Greensburg program, and I believe he's doing a pretty nice job at that. We've seen the games on film they played. They're a very physical football team. We knew coming in we were going to have our hands full, and we didn't know how we were going to respond after the Highlands loss, but the kids had a great week of practice, and we knew going into that game was one of the better week of practices we had. And knowing your opponent and the preparation that you put into it is a direct relationship in the win-loss column sometimes. So, we were happy with it. But, Greensburg's coming on, Jonathan, and, they're going to upset some people. He had some misfortune, like we had some misfortune with his running back, but this kid, number 34, came in here and he had a heck of a game. And, he did a great job preparing for us as far as switching quarterbacks. I wasn't too worried about number 10 throwing the ball. I was more worried about him running the ball. And number 12 comes in and throws the ball over the field. So, he caught us by surprise in a way. And the most important thing about the game we took away is that our kids kept responding back with a score until we were able to put the game away.
Coach, referring to Greensburg Salem's junior running back Lenny Greenback and the quarterback Brady Mason. That game, I thought, swung on a big 2 fumbles in that fourth quarter in a row. The first one, the Panthers coughed it up. The defense comes right back on the ensuing play at the 39-yard line of Greensburg Salem and gets a big hit. I think Nick Fazio covered that fumble, and your squad got it back. And then, wow, Brett Zanot, who had a monster game, took it in from 39 yards. Did you think that was maybe the biggest momentum swing in the football game?
It's funny you even mentioned that, Jonathan, because Dave came over, Kiefer, after the game, and we were talking about how this game is a game of momentum and game-changing plays. And we both agreed that was it. I think Casey on that jet sweep, I think he had the corner, and I think he was heading for a touchdown. And bam, he got knocked out. They recover it. And you could see a letdown on our part. I was even talking to Church because I was so angry after that play because all he did was see pay dirt after he handed the ball off. But then, it came back, and Dom Jangeli made a great play and stripped the ball off of is it Greenback?
Yeah.
And that all of a sudden that took the air out of Greensburg's sail, and we went down and scored on that drive, and then continued to score after that.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns in a row led to the 42-20 Franklin Regional Panthers victory. I got to talk about Brett Zanato. Got hurt in the Highlands game, and the defense really sagged. He runs for 100 yards on about 7 carries. He scores 3 touchdowns, and that's on offense. On defense, he has 17 tackles, 9 unassisted. He means so much to this 2013 Franklin Regional Panthers football team, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. Brett is a football player. I found out about him in 7th grade. And I kept an eye on him coming up to the midget games, watching him play. His instinct is something you don't teach. It is intrinsic. It is inside him. And he was just on defense a missile to the football. On offense, he scored points. And he was just a man among boys down there. And I think he's a man among boys up here sometimes too. He has a nose for the football. He's strong. He got legs like a college player. And he has just tremendous strength, too, to go along with it. He has vision that accompanies his running game, and then he still has that instinctive look on the defensive side. I knew about him, and I brought him up as a freshman. He lettered as a freshman on special teams. He would probably got a lot more runs last year, but he ended up breaking his ankle at Greensburg, and that's why this was a big game for him, because he had a little bit of animosity to what happened last year, and he went on. But can't say enough about him. We lost him on the defensive side of the ball in the beginning of the second quarter, and we kind of fell apart against Highlands. He means a lot to our football program, especially since Adam's gone. Adam won't be back in Mahokee for the year, and he kind of anchored the line, and Brett anchors the linebacker. So it's about people stepping up when other people get hurt. So, my condolences go out to Adam Mahokee, and it's a heartfelt loss for the football team. But, we all got to start stepping up now.
Well, all of a sudden, your team looking more and more, Coach, like a MASH unit. You're getting really deep on the depth chart.
Yeah, we are. I mean, hopefully we're going to get Pat Kokalis back in the next couple of weeks. Question mark with Marty Novak. He separated his shoulder in practice. He had 18 tackles against Highlands, so that kind of hurt. And then, Nate Fleck stepped in as a linebacker and did well. And then we have a young guard stepping in Mahokee from Mahokee at guard pickup, and he did a pretty good job first time out as a young sophomore.
A couple other players I thought came up nicely last week. Junior receiver Zachary Iavino, 4 catches for 58 yards. Talk about how he's developing.
Yeah, it is funny too because he was question mark playing football this year, and he loves baseball. He loves football too, but baseball is his first love. And he came in, he wasn't around during the summer, and he came in thinking, Coach, I want to talk to you about not playing, and I said, what do you need from me? I said, you're a football player, son, and, we could use you. And he said, Coach, I just need a little help here and there, going to practices and games, and I may miss here and there. I said, you know what? You should be enjoying your junior and senior in high school. You shouldn't be limited. If you want to play football, we'll work around it. Okay. And we did. And he stepped it up big last week, and he did what we all knew he could do. So I'm very, very proud of him.
Number 16, Jordan Kessler, 9 tackles last week. One of his best performances that I've seen this year. Talk a little bit about how he's come along as a Panther.
Well, with Pat Kokalis going down, we moved to starting safety, which was Casey Kelly Grande, outside linebacker, and Casey's done a great job there. I can't say enough about it. Had a real big game last 2 weeks, and then we kind of did that because we knew Jordan was coming into his own back there. He's starting to understand what that position's all about. He's a tall, lanky kid. I keep teasing him about putting weight on. You go home and eat and push your sister or your mother away from the table. But, he's an athlete, and he's doing quite well back there. And I think with the more experience he gets, he'll become.
Number 60, Kent Thomas, is really the last couple of weeks has been outstanding for you. He wears number 60, and he had an 8-yard interception return. He showed some smooth hands, took that back for a touchdown. When was the last time, or if you've ever had a defensive lineman run an interception back for 6?
Not that I can ever remember. I mean, I have to go to Anthony Botta. He's the one that has that steel trap mind, but I can't recall anybody from the offensive line that picked up a ball, ran it in, or intercepted a ball, let alone. Last year, Duncan picked up a ball against Belle Vernon and ran in for a touchdown, but no defensive lineman. But Kent's somebody too that we got to stay on. He's kind of the jokester of the team, but he's out in the football field. He becomes serious, and I'm real pleased with where he is right now, and hopefully he can continue to get better.
Tonight it's the Belle Vernon area Leopards here at Panther Stadium. Last year they had the highly heralded big defensive lineman Johnson, who's now at the University of Pittsburgh, and the Panthers went down there and did a pretty good number on him. Now they come in losers of 3 in a row, 1-3 overall. Talk a little bit about any concerns you may have with Belle Vernon.
Well, the Belle Vernon, first of all, I want people to understand, they were winning or tied at halftime in all those games. Okay. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
And things kind of fall apart in the second half for them. But they had West Mifflin 6-6. They were winning, again, I think it was 13-7 against EF. So, they know how to put points on the board now to play defense. The problem with them is they just can't sustain that, And my fear is that they'll come out and play the first half, and hopefully they'll do the same thing. But if they continue to play like that, we got our hands full. Belle Vernon, tough kids. The Leopards over there, and Belle Vernon are just physical football players, and they do a lot of things well. Big tight end. Their quarterback went down again. This is the 3rd year in a row, so they have a number 15. He's 6'1", 200-pound freshman. And they told me, I was talking to Aaron Krebs over there, good guy, and they're kind of the same position we are. They brought their freshman up, I think, and he has like 3 or 4 freshmen starting. And then we have 6 seniors on the whole team and 4 starts. So gonna get better as the year goes on. In the next couple of years, they should be a very, very good football team. So I'm concerned about them. You want to win this game, but the most important thing for me at this stage is to get out of this game healthy to get ready for Hollidaysburg.
That was the next question I wanted to ask you, Coach. Considering the team's injury situation and this being a non-section game, do you approach it any differently?
No, you can't. We tell these kids, and we prepared this game like any other game. Our coaches did a great job Saturday, put the game plan again Sunday, and then all week long we practice what they do. No matter what contest you're in, you got to give your kids the best opportunity to win, and you got to know your opponent. So, I take a look on how do I see if they're watching film. We come out in the football field and we do our best to prepare for them and on offense and defense. What their looks are and give our kids the best opportunity and chance to win.
Paul Emanuel is going to be our player profile segment for this week's game, Coach. Talk a little bit about Paul. He had a 100-yard rushing effort last week, which I got to think is a career high for him. What has he meant to your team this season?
Paul's a Mr. Consistency. He does exactly what we tell him to do. When you look at him, he's small in stature, but he has the biggest heart of anybody, let alone your smile that you love about him. He's just a great kid, a good individual, comes from a good family. I can't say enough about him, and he wants to do well. He wants the ball. He wants to do better every time. He wants to know what he does wrong in order to get more playing time, And we have 3, possibly 4 very, very good running backs, and it's good to get Brett in there in some situations. It's good to get Dom Giangeli in some situations, but right now Paul's our featured back. He gets most of the carries, and he's reading our zone better than he did in the beginning of the year, and he's getting that burst back that he had last year, so I'm real happy with where he is.
Last question, what will be the keys for the Panthers putting a winning streak together here today?
Well, number one, not thinking this is an important game. Every time there's a non-conference game, you think, win or lose, this game is not the conference play, but it is. We need the momentum going into Hollidaysburg. Against Belle Vernon, what we got to do offensively is be consistent on the ball. We didn't commit a lot of penalties last week, and that was the key to that victory. I believe that. And on defensively, we got to get better. We gave up a lot of points and a lot of yards last week and the week before. I know Frank Cortez, my defensive coordinator, one time I like to have on here with me. He takes it very personally. We've not reached our goals defensively in the last 2 weeks. So we're going to work to try to reach those goals and play a little stiffer on defense.
Coach Botta, best of luck tonight against the Belle Vernon area Leopards, and more importantly, come out no more injured than when you came into the game, huh?
Well, hopefully that'll be the way it turns out. Thanks.
All right. That's head coach Greg Botta of the Franklin Regional Panthers. We'll be back with more of our pregame show from Panther Stadium. You're watching Franklin Regional High School football on the Westmoreland Sports Network.